Today, we'll be speedrunning Bear Percent. This is a hilarious speedrun where you need to romance Halston in bear form as quickly as possible. However, unlike any percent that takes only 5 minutes, this speedrun is much more difficult, even with a ton of new degenerate exploits. Strategies. There was also a patch right as I started learning this run, meaning we'll have to come up with brand new strats, which is pretty fun for speedrunning, but we'll get to that. First up, the easy part. We need to create a deep gnome wizard with maxed out strength. This will give us access to enhanced sleep, feather fall, and by maxing strength, we can travel very quickly by leaping. Once we have our gnome with a good name, we start out on the nautiloid and cast enhanced leap. We leap a few times until we reach this specific spot. Then we will need to cast dash, enter turn-based mode, cast dash again, and then spam jump on this specific spot in order to take us through the wall. By casting the dashes, we will make it to the console in one turn. The beginning of this run's a lot like the any percent run, but I promise this one gets crazy. But first, just like any percent, we will need to teleport Shadowheart to the mountain pass. Same old basic and intended mechanic, just drop a scroll in this specific spot, go and kill Shadowheart, put some fire on the ground, put Shadowheart in the box, close open and move the box quickly to make it glitch out and go to where we originally placed the scroll. Boss breaks from the fire and dead Shadowheart triggers the cutscene. Easy peasy. Check out my 80% video for more detail, because this video is all about animal activism. Next, we will leave camp after the long rest, and we can begin our journey into Halston's heart. And the first step is to avoid every companion cutscene and get the waypoint for the grove. Then head southwest. Here, there's a massive trigger area for the Goblin fight, but we can avoid it by jumping right into this corner and then jumping up top. After that, we have a pretty straightforward trip to the Goblin camp. This is made possible because of our wizard's enhanced leap and max strength. There is an optimal path, so we avoid any cutscenes and conversations with the goblins. I also love these final couple jumps that cover a ton of distance. Feels so satisfying. Once we get through the gate, the goblins want to fight, but we just need to pass a 2 check to get in without upsetting anyone. Next, we jump to the first of 3 goblin leaders. We will need to take out all of them in order to impress Daddy Halston. The leader is this healer goblin lady. We walk up to her and use a glitch called kidnapping. All we need to do is start the animation for throwing the goblin, activate the throw, and then immediately cancel it. If timed correctly, this causes the goblin to be stuck inside our character until we release them. So we take the healer goblin over to Minthara, put her down, and then use minor illusion to set up both Minthara and the goblin on the bridge. Once they are both on it, we can enter turn-based mode so they don't move, shoot down the bridge, and then jump over to where Dror Ragzlin is. Dror? Is that his name? Dror? By moving this container to this specific spot, Dror will hear it, get suspicious, and then walk right over to the bridge. We can shoot the bridge, killing him, and then immediately fast travel before combat starts. Now we can enter the grove using this nice jump right at the waypoint and head on over to Halston. We jump right on over to the center of the grove where Halston is getting mad at Kaga for killing a child we knew nothing about and can't be blamed for in any way. After that, we long rest and the goblin party begins. We jump right to Halston where we can flirt a little bit, but this bear is going to take a lot more before he's willing to get with us. We long rest, switch to Shadowheart, who, if you remember from before, was teleported right by the mountain pass. Use her to progress the story, and this triggers a long rest. We now will need to talk to Raphael, who is in our camp, to progress. But instead of doing that, we take Shadowheart, have her kill our main character, and then after switching to turn-based mode, pick us up. This strategy does 2 important things. Because the main character is in the inventory of Shadowheart, the game progresses the story. This skips the dialogue with Raphael, which is pretty long. And secondly, because we switch to turn-based mode, our character will now be in a weird turn-based mode limbo. This means that even after revival, buffs on our character that normally have a turn limit will not tick down, but we can still move our character like it's not in turn-based mode. This is super convenient because now we don't have to keep recasting Enhanced Leap and Featherfall. But more importantly, this allows Shadowheart to cast a permanent sanctuary that we will need later in the run for a new strategy. Once we get buffed up, we can head down to the mountain pass where Lae'zel is just hanging out. We recruit her and then immediately ungroup her. We head out on our own and get to the Death Shepherd. We will avoid fighting by casting a fog cloud, jumping in, and then immediately jumping out of range. These guys are the only group of mobs in the entire dangerous mountain pass. Now we can jump down and get to Act 2. Next, we'll need to deal with the Shadow Curse. And to do that, we will need to bring Shadowheart with us to the spider guy. We disguise her into a gnome because this allows our main character to use Kidnap. Once we pick up our disguise Shadowheart, we travel down to the mountain to where the spider guy will come. We can ignore the whole liar thing and use our Illithid power to command the spider to come out. Now we release Shadowheart from kidnapping and cast Command Drop. This causes the spider to drop the moon lantern we need, and no one is that bothered by it. We pick up the moon lantern, release the pixie inside so she will grant us immunity to the Shadow Curse. This is necessary, especially since all 3 characters will be in different locations. First, we kidnap Shadowheart again, and our main objective now is to get all waypoints we will need. We head on over to Moonrise Tower to get the first waypoint, going a fairly specific path to avoid a couple fights. On our way, we also switch to Lae'zel and have her walk to another waypoint located right here. This one's used to get to last lights in. We switch back to our main character and head to the House of Healing. Once we make it, we release Shadowheart and send her on a journey to a waypoint right here. This one will be used to leave the Shadow Curse lands at the end. Once Shadowheart is on her way, we take our main wizard and jump over to the evil surgery guy. Cast Fog Cloud right behind him, sneak up and steal the loot, which is a quest item for Halsin. Once we have that, we can fast travel to the Shadow Battlefield. From here, we can make our way to Last Lights In. Once we enter, we can skip through the dialogue and then head on over to the main lodge. First, there's an invisibility potion we can pick up right here, then we jump across the room to the beds and talk to Art. I don't know what we're saying to him, but the loot seems to be important, and this progresses the quest. After this dialogue, we go to camp, talk to Halsin, let him know we talked to Art. We then leave camp, talk to Art again. Now we are officially in the difficult part of the run. We now need to set ourselves up for 3 important fights, and none are trivial. First, we need to beat the big portal fight with all the shadow guys. Second, we need to destroy a 300 HP barrier that reflects damage we do to it. And we will need to defeat Ketheric and Merkel. So let's talk about each part separately. First up, the portal fight. We will need to survive, and we need to keep this barrier alive for 5 turns against a ridiculous amount of enemies. And here's where our first patch update is going to ruin us. The old strategy was to switch difficulty from Explorer to Tactician, back and forth to heal up the portal. Basically, the way this worked was the game would remember the percentage HP when scaling the HP up to Explorer, but then use total HP when scaling the HP down in Tactician. This still works on players as an exploit to get yourself out of a sticky situation, but as of patch 6, this does not work on the portal. And if the portal dies, I don't know man, Halsin's gone to the Shadow Realm forever. So we need to keep it alive. But we're gonna have to come up with a new strategy if we want to get some of that sweet, sweet bear action. I tried a ton of different strats, but the one that finally worked most of the time was casting darkness on the main platform. If you've never done this fight, basically there are a ton of low HP birds that spawn in early. These birds will make it into the darkness first, which takes up space and prevents other enemies from getting in. None of the ranged enemies can attack, the tentacles can't TP into the darkness, meaning that based on RNG, the portal can just barely survive the full 5 rounds of birds and soldiers beating down on it. And the reason we survive is because we have Sanctuary on us. Since we're now in turn-based mode, it will start to tick down, but this isn't a big deal since we only need it to last 5 turns. We also need to position our character in the rightmost corner. I found this spot takes up the most space and gives us the best chance of success on the fight. There's definitely RNG here where you can lose the run to the birds hitting too hard. Now, at the same time this big portal fight is happening, we need to set up for the other fight. We take Lizelle, use Charisma for efficiency, and then talk to the traitor. We're going to need smoke powder bomb, but we don't have any money. Fortunately, we do have our armor, weapons, and starting equipment, including the res scrolls, camp supplies, and potions. We're gonna need enough bombs to do 300 damage at once. We need like 18, but the trader only has 4. So, once we buy all 4 bombs from the trader, we will need to level up a character. This will reset the trader's stock and allow us to buy more bombs. We do this over and over to get as many bombs as possible until we finally have enough to take on the final fight. This process is long and boring, and since you can't go back on any level up, we need to make sure every level up is exactly what we need. Every decision we make has a purpose that will be revealed in the rest of the run. But the main thing is, leveling up gives us shop resets and bombs. Now that we have maxed out the bombs we can buy, we need to have Lizelle kill Shadowheart. Pick her up, and then travel towards Moonrise Towers. When we leveled her up, we multi-classed into Wizard, so she will have Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall. Once we reach Moonrise Towers, we can head into the back room, and then go down these stairs. This leads us to a hole where we can jump down and get to the oubliette. Here, we will need to get to the final Ketheric fight area that is right past this wall, but we're not able to glitch jump through it because we will die. However, there is another glitch we can use to get past the wall. Rather than jumping through the wall, we are going to teleport through it. The quick and rough version of how this works is we try to jump to a location that has an enemy on it, but then if the enemy moves by the time the game registers our jump, the game will just teleport our character to that location. We did fail it a few times, but once we got it, we can head on over to this console that gives us the option to kill a bunch of people, friends, enemies, but killing equals XP, so we do not hesitate. We command them all to be dead and move on. We are now very close to the final Ketheric fight that will end Act 2, but we aren't even finished with the big portal fight. We switch on over to our main character, finish out the portal fight, and then we still need to buy more bombs. Now with our main character, we can start buying bombs and use the influx of XP to reset the shop 3 more times. But now we have enough bombs and can complete the final Halsin fight, which is a pain of a fight. We fast travel, do a quick talk to Halsin in camp, then head on over to this little hub where an annoying kid is running around. We talk to the kid and say, "Hey kid, you're not real. Nothing's real." Follow me. Kid does not seem to trust us for some reason and starts a fight. This fight is very challenging. You need to destroy a 300 HP orb while all kinds of ads spawn in. Normally you need to kill the ads, which actually does damage to the orb, but we have something else in mind. Luckily, dropping an item doesn't cost any action or bonus action. So we can drop a crate, drop all the bombs on the crate, and then use the teleporting mechanic we used to teleport Shadowheart to toss the crate at the orb. Select a location out of reach to move the crate, then open, close, open, move, and it jumps over to the orb. Then all we need to do is blow it up and we won the fight. This is great. We have now done all the house and specific requirements in order to love the bear, and now we just have to do the most difficult final fight in Act 2. And this one was brutal. We need to stomp the boss, but it's super precise. I disguised myself as a dragonborn, enlarged myself, used an invis potion, and then stood on some boxes I had set up earlier. Jumped down to Ketheric, easy first phase one shot. Next I jumped back on the boxes, and no matter how many times I tried it, it wasn't working. I tried a bunch of angles and even tried having Shadowheart be a druid to use the bear's hitbox. Nothing worked until I posted on the Baldur's Gate 3 speedrun Discord. All of the top runners immediately responded, giving ideas and things to try. Seriously, ridiculously helpful and active, and very kind. I love this community. With that being said, this is the worst speedrun Discord I have ever seen. There is one chat thread for everything. So if I have a question about loving the bear, I'm interrupting everyone else's discussion. Guys, look at this. This is a different speedrun Discord. We've got each category separated, fun off-topic chats to get to know each other, technical questions for noobs, clips to discover new glitches. They even have a freaking chat thread to make suggestions to improve their already immaculate Discord. Now I know what you're thinking. I could, message the Discord mod and ask for some changes. But I think it makes more sense to complain about a minor inconvenience to an audience where 99% of the people won't relate or care about it at all. Please don't kick me from the Discord. I take it all back. I'll move on. Anyway, I used the advice and tried the exact location they suggested, and even for patch 6, it worked. I smushed the boss in one hit, and now knew the strategy going forward. All we have to do is fast travel to the road to Baldur's Gate, get into Act 3, and have love with a bear. But no, of course, there's another super precise speedrun strat left that stands in our way. But this is the final one, baby. After you finish Act 2, there's an intermission fight where the Gith attacks the camp. So we need to prepare. We recruit Halsin and then tell Lae'zel and Shadowheart we just saw Comet Hail Bop and they jump off the edge. Now we can end the day bringing us to the fight with the Gith. Halsin misty steps near the portal, and then we need our main character to cast Mage Hand. Now for the precise part. After a quick save, we need to have Halsin enter the portal at the exact moment we switch perspectives to dead Shadowheart. We click on the portal, and then as he's reaching it, spam F4 and click on Shadowheart's profile. We need this to be exactly perfectly timed. We miss it a few times, but once we get it, there's no cutscene and we can now control our Mage Hand. All we need to do, use the Mage Hand to push our main character off. This allows the portal to be used by Halsin. Quickly stealth, press the portal, and we will be out of combat long enough to long rest. This completely skips the fight and moves us directly to Act 3. Now, all we have to do is go to camp, and like the average guy at a bar, Halsin will let us know that we are more special than anyone else in the universe, and that he would like to have a ton of other partners. We tell him we are super down, and then long rest for the most glorious scene in the whole game.
Forgive me, I lost the run of myself. Sometimes, if blood runs hot enough, it's difficult to tame the beast. Are you certain? It will be untamed, vigorous, and, well, large. You came.